That's a cool intro. I like
Yeah.
that beat.
I was just thinking that.
All right, everyone. Morning, afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to our LinkedIn live stream talking about our kickoff of ConnectWise Access Management Standalone. My name is Will Riley. I am the sales manager for Screen Connect globally. Been with the company about 6 years, and just love the product, love the changes that we're doing today and in the future, and everything that we've been doing with Screen Connect. It's been an awesome couple of years post COVID with all the stuff that we've been able to kick off, and really thinking about it now, we've kind of become more of like a platform of our own, starting to do things like ConnectWise Access Management or what it's capable of doing with ConnectWise View. So that's kind of the direction that we're headed in, is creating Screen Connect as a platform in itself. Quick icebreaker: if you're joining us, you got an option to drop this in the chat. Would you rather live in the Sahara Desert or the Arctic Circle? So I'm gonna intro Caitlin and Nate on that as well. But for me personally, it's already getting hot here in Florida. I'd probably choose the Arctic Circle. So,
anyway. For the record, I picked that icebreaker question. So if you don't like it, you can also say what a terrible icebreaker question that was.
I'm glad you're following on that one, Caitlin.
Yep, I will tell the world it was me. I can go ahead and introduce myself. So I'm Caitlin Barnes, product manager for Screen Connect. Been with the ConnectWise for about 6 years now. So working on Screen Connect with extensions and integrations. And then now ConnectWise Access Management. So really interested to talk today to you guys about what we're doing with access management and kind of what we're doing with Standalone, and then also a little bit about the future, and then obviously a chance to show everyone my icebreaker skills. I would prefer to live in the Arctic Circle. I think I'm interested to hear from somebody who would pick the Sahara, because I feel like at least the Arctic, you've just got, I can just think of all the gear that you would have. In the Sahara, at some point, you're kind of, I don't know, it's too inhospitable at that point. So there you have it. Nate?
Thank you. My name is Nate Warwick, and I am the solution strategist for ConnectWise Access Management. So I help our global sales team sell it. Will and I started roughly around the same time. At ConnectWise, I came from a background of other remote access tools. I'm so happy to be on the team here and now focusing on access management. And I would pick the Sahara Desert because I'm a Florida man, and the ice, the cold, it would kill me. So I don't care how hot it is. I'm used to it.
I feel like it's always the opposite of that, Nate. Like people who live in warm climates want to live in cold climate, but you're different. You're built different.
Yeah, I am. I am.
Different. He did say he was Florida man, so
yeah, swamp in my blood.
Yeah. Speaking of, for the intros and stuff, I'm just thinking about this. A lot of our team's been with product for a long time, and we're all very passionate about it. I don't want to say experts in the field, but we do spend a lot of time, and we've spent many years working on this product together, not just from the sales side, from the development side, all of it. And taking feedback from partners and making it become a reality. That's actually what ConnectWise Access Management is. It came from our partners, right, and from feedback. So as a need. Anyway, before we jump into it, I want to turn it over to Nate. But if you have other questions as we're going along, drop them in the comments, and we'll get to them as soon as we can on the back end. So. Nate, you want to kick off talking about what CAM is?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we all know, kind of the cybersecurity landscaping, there's a ton of challenges, right? So you're facing, new issues, new threats, all of that every day. So we built access management to help you out there. So we can do a couple things: improve operational efficiency, and of course, keep you secure. So ConnectWise Access Management is built on the principles of least privileged access. So it is really just saying we're giving a user, no matter what their role in the company is, enough access so they can perform their job function, right? So if you have a standard user, they probably never need an admin account. Why would you ever give them one? Stuff like that. So with our tool here, we have two ways. So we can do temporary elevation. That is where an unprivileged user can request elevation through the UAC. So you can think of things like, Adobe, QuickBooks, stuff like that, where you trust the file, you know what it is, but now you still have to connect to the machine, elevate it. So it does take a little bit of time, but now we can automate that process. So as long as your conditions are met, we'll say our rule will take action. Now we don't actually have to respond to those each and every time. So that can improve operational efficiency. Kind of the things you want to think about for that feature are what happens when one of your users hits the UAC. How much time am I spending on those elevation requests? So that is the first half. The second half is traditionally used for technicians, and this lets them spin up an ephemeral local admin account on demand. So you don't have to go back through your password vault, worry about rotating those passwords, who has access to that vault. We hear from partners quite a lot that, I just onboarded somebody and 4 weeks into it, I kind of give them the keys to the kingdom. So they know all my admin passwords, they can connect to them. So with our tool here, we're going to use just-in-time access. So we will spin up a brand new ephemeral local admin account on the machine, and we can use it for as long as we want. But as soon as we sign out, it will be immediately disabled and then deleted in a certain period of time. So we have built this on the Screen Connect agent. And traditionally here for the last couple of years, you would need to have a Screen Connect license. But the big news today is now Access Management is a standalone product. So this means you do not have to have any other ConnectWise products to start using it. So it's a big launch. It's a great tool. We obviously hope you'll join the ConnectWise family and get all of our tools, but we understand there's, incremental purchases. This will get you started off at a very good price point.
Yeah, I do want to add, so this, for some people on here, it may be the first time that you're hearing about Access Management as a product. We've been loud and proud about it for a while, but if you have, and you are a ConnectWise partner, there are other ways, right? It's just that we wanted to bring Standalone to the market for partners or prospects who are maybe on a different remote support solution, different RMM solution. Maybe they're looking into ConnectWise in the next 3, even 5 years. We've heard from prospects. So if you're interested in a PAM solution and you know that you may go to a ConnectWise product later, that we have that as an option as well. Just really trying to fit everybody's use case, because we want everybody to use Access Management.
Yeah, because they need to.
That's right. Well, yeah, for protection, right? Because they absolutely need to. We hear it sometimes too that people need it. I was just at a user group for ConnectWise and asked if it was a requirement for cyber insurance. It doesn't sound like it's risen to the level where in order to be insured, you have to have a PAM solution, but it's definitely mentioned on every form now. And everybody there, I was like, does anybody not have cyber insurance? And everybody just kind of laughed at me. So it's everywhere, right? And to have a PAM solution kind of goes right alongside any sort of insurance that you would need.
Yeah. Speaking of, I was just at a trade show in London that covered sort of the best of both worlds. It was a massive show of people, but it was for managed service providers, MSPs, but also for internal IT. So we got to see and talk to a lot of people from both sides of the spectrum, and asking people the question about what they're doing today for managing their users, their access management. Do they have a measure in place? It quickly becomes apparent that there's actually quite a few people don't even understand this space, right? And just to talk on that for a second and make this very clear, Screen Connect and ConnectWise Access Management are two different products, right? I mean, we built it through Screen Connect, but it doesn't have competitors with Screen Connect, right? And we're the first of the space to do something like put an access management tool in conjunction with your remote support tool, right? It's a single agent. But anyway, back to talking about the show. The show is kind of, I don't want to call it scary, but there's a lot of people that aren't doing the right thing today, even at minimum standards, right? And I don't think there's enough knowledge of what's available out there, what options you have. And I think this is the perfect segue to talk about the fact that this is standalone, because you don't have to have that added cost of a remote support tool if you're already using something else today or nothing at all. You can jump right into this at a much lower cost and have the ability to manage what Nate was outlining, and streamlining the services, right? I think about this from a business optimization standpoint, and what the experience is like for not just the IT provider or the MSP, but also for the people experiencing this, right? If everybody's had a point in time where they want to install something and they can't, right? But if we start to build a collection of things that we know are trusted, that experience becomes so much better for everybody, right? It automatically happens for the end user. They can immediately have those updates. They can immediately grab what they need, the tools that they want, that are already approved, right? And then on the flip side, the tech does not have to go through that request over and over and over again, particularly if it's one by one for each person that's having to go and update that tool that they're using, or add that tool, right, to their stack. So anyway, let's flip it over to Caitlin. Curious if you can provide us some updates on what's new in the product right now.
Yeah. So as a product manager, I'm obviously looking at what's new and what's next. Partners that are currently in Screen Connect and in 24.1, if you go into your extension marketplace, you can update Access Management's extension today and see that we've added a dashboard. So that is a V1 for us. We are looking at different ways to improve the UI, but we really wanted to deliver a place where everyone could look and see what elevation requests are happening, how often are they happening, what product are people most likely to ask elevations for, with the hope that you'll see that and say, oh, I need to create a rule. Let me eliminate all the manual requests that I have around this product. It looks like people are requesting it monthly. It looks like the majority of my users are requesting the same application with this certificate thumbprint. Create a rule. Hopefully you'll see that from the dashboard, and you can just eliminate that from as a manual task. The other big thing that we hear about sometimes from support as well is we've added a tile that talks about licensing. So depending on the flavor that you've purchased of Access Management, up and into including Standalone, which we have already said is available for purchase now, you'll see the number of licenses that you have if you're on a limited license like that, and then also the number of licenses that are in use. So if you've accidentally applied Access Management to everything in your environment, but you're just starting out and you've only purchased a small number of agents, then you can kind of understand, oh, that's why it's not working on some of my machines. It's because I've actually over provisioned it and the license isn't applying everywhere. So we're really trying to give more information about the way that you're using Access Management to hopefully obviously derive value, but also then create rules and really get the most bang for your buck. In terms of things that are on the way, elevating is a logged in user. So right now in the context of a UAC elevation, we are technically still elevating that user as a temp admin. There are certain applications where you need to be elevated in the context of your logged in user in order for those permissions to make sense. So we're adding the ability in 24.1 to be elevated as your specific logged in user. Sorry, not in 24.1. In an upcoming release that I am unsure about at this time. It's coming out soon though. This is product manager for you. We also are looking at some updates to the VirusTotal integration. I know there was a question about integrations, and we can touch more about that in a second. But specifically for VirusTotal, we are looking at ways to improve kind of how you interact with VirusTotal. So we've talked about potentially even creating rules based on the score you get from VirusTotal. So if you're looking for a specific product and the score is 0 out of 72, 75, whatever their database size is now, which means there are no detections of a problem, then go ahead and auto-approve. Or if the score is 6 and higher, because that means that at least 6 applications have found something to remark on from VirusTotal, auto-deny. So we're starting to get into those those automatic approvals or denials to try to help manage the environment while you're away, while you're doing other things, while other people are kind of looking. And then the last thing is really around rules. So obviously I've just pushed all these different ways you should use rules. We're updating the way that the rules are managed inside of the UI, what that list looks like, how you create them, how they're filtered. Just really, we've heard a lot of feedback from partners, and we're taking that on board, and we want to make sure that we're building the best product that makes the most sense for the market. So don't really have any timelines on that because I don't know. We're still working on it, but those are the things that are coming up next, and really excited to see kind of where access management goes from here.
I'm excited. Dashboard.
Yeah, dashboard is good. It's always nice to have some of that information at your fingertips. We're already working with ConnectWise's UI UX team to improve even the way that looks, readability. Does this chart make more sense as a graph and things like that, just to get the most out of it for partners. So I'll be interested to hear feedback, see what other things people would be interested in, so we can continue to put that on there. And that's in the actual access management tab on your admin page if you're somebody who already has access management. It's now the first thing that opens when you click on that tab. Cool.
Well, we're kind of running up against time. I think we probably ought to flip it over to reviewing some questions, if there's any in the chat that we can address.
Yeah, I did see, I mentioned earlier that one about integrations. So we're obviously here to talk about Standalone. And most of the integrations one of the integrations I was going to mention was the PSA integration, but that's a ConnectWise PSA integration. But if you are a Standalone partner, you still could take advantage of Teams or Slack. So being able to get your notifications about waiting access management requests, that can still definitely happen in a Standalone context without a ConnectWise product in play. Would also be interested, for all of you that are watching this or may watch this recording in the future, if you want to reach out to ctrlpm@connectwise.com and you have additional products that you are interested in seeing access management integrated with. Maybe you're not a ConnectWise partner, but you have a PSA from somebody else and a remote support from somebody else. Love to hear about it. So we can start to build integrations for access management that kind of make it into its own ecosystem. I mean, you see that with Screen Connect, and we'd love to do the same for access management. I think that might be the only question at the moment.
I think it's because you mentioned that, right? I think this is the other piece that when I'm talking to prospects or partners that are interested in it, it's not just about selling the product and getting somebody onboarded, and that's really easy, particularly if you already have Screen Connect because it's already the same agent. But it's important for each person's use case, understand where your technicians are spending your time. If it's not all the time in Screen Connect, or it's somewhere else in your PSA, or wherever they're living, it has to be the path of least resistance, right? Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up for friction and failure, right? So it really does depend on that. And so that's why we're continuing, not just with the multitude of options that we have on how you can get connected or manage your requests, right? But onward and upward into more systems, right? So always open to understanding where you're using it today or where you'd like to use it, so we can continue to expand that. All right.
So now our shameless plug about the trial.
Yeah.
Yep. So we do have a blog. I'm not sure. Well, a couple different people on the team wrote it, but it's about we have a couple actually on access management, least privilege, and then also on Standalone on its own, and the ways that obviously makes sense for your business. Also, like I said, shameless plug for the trial. So there is in the comment section, there is a link provided there to start a Standalone trial of access management. So that's a 14-day free trial, and you'll get a chance to try access management, see what it's like. If you have seen it before, maybe if you are a Screen Connect partner and saw it on a promo, but are interested to see what access management would be like without the remote support or remote access in there, you have that chance to check out that trial.
Good deal. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks, Caitlin. Thanks, Nate. Always good to chat.
Absolutely.
All right.
We will see you around.